ask admission for the first application round. Today joining us, we have Elena and George from the admissions office, and we wanted to hold this webinar because we've been receiving a lot of questions from students, some very particular regarding the admissions process. So we thought this is a good opportunity to go over all the admissions related questions, all the points throughout the application, and also, of course, to have Helena and George here to answer any more particular questions that anyone might have. So Helena and George prepared a nice presentation for us today. I'll pass it on to them. But if you have any questions for them, please write it in the questions box in your control panel. Me and our colleagues here also from the Master School office will try to answer also the questions during the webinar, but of course we will also take some of the perhaps more popular and frequent questions also during the Q&A after Helena and Josh's presentation. So Helena and Josh, I'll pass it on to you now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So hello everybody and welcome to the InnoTalks of Ask the Admissions for round 1. My name is Helena Legnell and I work as the admissions coordinator here at InnoEnergy. And with me I have my colleague Josh, who can introduce himself.
Thank you very much, Helena. My name is Josh Compton and I'm an admissions officer working together with Helena to run the admissions for InnoEnergy Masters Plus.
Okay, so today we will cover these topics. Short about InnoEnergy Masters Plus. We will go through the application process and the application documents. We have some tips and tricks for you. We will go through fees and scholarships and end up with contact information and some questions that you might have. So for starters then, InnoEnergy Masters Plus. It is the European instrument to bring people and resources together, catalyzing and accelerating the energy transition. New ideas, products and solutions that make a real difference, and the new businesses and people to deliver them to market. The function of InnoEnergy Masters Plus is to provide leading education where research meets industry and education within the energy transition. And here you see an overview of all the universities that is part of the InnoEnergy's Masters programs and which countries they are situated in. And if we take the next one, we have our 5 Masters program, the Advanced Energy Systems and AI, our newest one. Smart Electrical Networks, Sustainable Energy System, Nuclear Engineering and Renewable Energy. And you can also see here which countries the different programs are offered in and in which year. And let's have a closer look at the application process. If you go to apply.innoenergy.com, you can start with registering a profile in the application portal that we have there. And then you fill in the application form and upload all the necessary documents. Please also check if you have to act on any country-specific document requirements. And after that, you can submit the application. Then me and Josh will go through all the applications in the general eligibility evaluation. And if you pass through that, we will get all the applications to the specific requirements evaluation. And this is done by the different programs committees. So the specific evaluation is not done by me and Josh. And after that, you will hopefully get a letter of acceptance. In the first 4 rounds, you can apply for 2 programs per application round. And in round 5, it is only possible to apply for 1 program. And you may apply in all applications round. Please note that some partner universities are not available for application in round 4 and 5, so it is best to apply early in round 1 to 3. And also good to know that if you are rejected from your initial 2 programs, the likelihood of being admitted to the same program in a later round is quite slim. And now we take a closer look to the admissions requirements. For starters, in order to apply, you do need to have a bachelor's degree, preferably within one of the fields mentioned here. But please know that the degree name is not the most important thing here. It is the type of courses that you have done that matters. We also check your GPA, and it is recommended to have a GPA of a 6.5 to a 7 on a 10-degree scale. But also know that this is only a recommendation and it's not strict. Then you have to have English proficiency. And you can show that either with an IELTS academic, a TOEFL internet-based test, or a Cambridge test. We also do have a number of English test waivers, but this will come to later in the presentation. We also check the bachelor university's reputation and ranking in the relevant field. But this is just something that we do check. We don't require a specific ranking. This is just part of having all the applicants in an overall ranking by the end of it. You also should have an interest in innovation and entrepreneurship. And we do want you to write either a motivational letter or a motivational video. And then just a reminder again, there are some country-specific documents requirements if you have studied in any of the countries listed here below. And right now we're by the end almost at round 1. The deadline to apply now is the 2nd of November. But if you do miss this deadline, we do open up again and we have a round 2 starting the 10th of November, and that will stay open until the 11th of January. And all year 1 universities and programs are available in these 2 rounds. So we hope you will apply. And now we will get into more details about the application documents, and I will hand over to Josh for that.
Thank you very much, Helena. For those of you who have already graduated, if you finished your studies, then we need to see the following documents from you. In terms of your bachelor's degree, we need to see your degree certificate, your final transcript of records, and the grading system used by your university. If your degree documents are produced in a language other than English, then of course we need to see an English translation of these documents. There are many universities around the world at the moment who produce documents in English. So if you have not been provided with English documents, but your university may provide a translation for you, it may be worth contacting them, asking them if you can have an English transcript, for example, or an English translation of your degree certificate. If this isn't possible, then you can always get your degree documents translated by an official translator. As a China-specific requirement for any of you connecting or listening in from China, please make sure that you also apply with your graduation certificate. So that means your bachelor's degree certificate as well as your graduation certificate in both Mandarin and English together. When we say that we would like to see the grading system used at your university, this information can sometimes be found at the bottom of a transcript, on the back side of a transcript. Sometimes it can be issued in an independent letter by contacting your university. But essentially what we need to see is the minimum passing grade at your university and the maximum attainable grade. And this, together with your overall numerical grade, is how we calculate your GPA. For those of you who are in your final year of studies, obviously you can't provide any degree certificate just yet, but we still need to see your up-to-date transcript of records and the grading system. And in place of the degree certificate, we would like to see an official statement of enrollment from your university. This statement usually contains information about either how long the degree is and what year you currently find yourself in, or sometimes it can contain more specific information about when you're expected to graduate, let's say, just for argument's sake, December 2025, or the autumn term 2025, or spring or summer 2026. All of these documents must be officially produced by your university. And again, if they're not produced in English, you can either contact your university to ask them to give you a version in English, or if that service isn't available at your university, then please make sure that you get them officially translated for us. When it comes to the proof of English language proficiency, my colleague Helena mentioned the 3 different English tests that we accept. We do not accept any other English tests other than what you see on the screen here. I'm going to take a little while just to go through the different tests and the requirements that we have. For the IELTS academic test, we accept an overall band score of 6.5 as a minimum, with no section lower than 5.5. If you would like to study at Eindhoven University of Technology, TUE, then you need to make sure that you have no section lower than 6.0. And just to let you know, if you take the home version of the IELTS academic test, which is called IELTS Online, this is not accepted as a valid form of English language proficiency by TUE nor by Grenoble INP. So if you wish to study at either of those universities, please make sure you take the IELTS academic test. And then moving on to TOEFL, the TOEFL internet-based test, we require a minimum overall score of 92 for this test, with the writing section no lower than 22. For TU Eindhoven, the minimum score of 21 is also necessary in all of the other sections. And a bit like the IELTS Online, the TOEFL IBT Home Edition is not accepted by TUE. When it comes to Cambridge tests, we accept 2 different Cambridge tests, the Certificate of Advanced English and the Certificate of Proficiency in English. We accept grades A to C. And then for TUE, a minimum of 169 points is required in each section. If you have taken a Cambridge test, then please make sure that you share your test results with KTH Royal Institute of Technology, because this is the way that we verify your test results. If you don't share these test results with us, then we can't check your results online. So we will send you an email and ask for you to share those results with us so that we can check them. But if you do that, as soon as you apply and you share those results with us, it will just create a nice smooth process for both sides. The LinguaSkill test, which is also provided by Cambridge, is only valid as a form of English language proficiency for the European Masters in Nuclear Energy with Year 1 at UPC, and that must be with all 4 skills: the listening, the reading, the writing, and the speaking. However, we do offer some English test waivers. I like to say that the best information for you to be able to see visually yourself is to check out our website under the application requirements section. But we're going to take a little bit of time to go through this today now here as well. If you have studied a bachelor's degree in any of the countries that you can see on this map, Canada, the USA, Ireland, the UK, Australia, or New Zealand, then you can qualify for an English test waiver at all of our universities. If you have studied a master's degree in any of these locations, then you are unable to qualify for this waiver at TU Eindhoven. It must be a bachelor's degree for study at TU Eindhoven. Then moving on to the next waiver, we have the European English Option Waiver, what we call ENO. And if you have studied a bachelor's or master's degree or higher at a university physically located and locally attended in the European Union, the European Economic Area, or Switzerland, you may qualify for an English test waiver for all of our programs except for studies at TU Eindhoven or KU Leuven. This is, of course, in line with local university regulations. If you have studied in one of these countries or areas, then please make sure that you provide some proof that your program was fully instructed in English. Unlike the other countries for the Universal English Test Waiver, which have English as their official language, there are many countries in the European Union and Economic Area and Switzerland that do not. And that is why we need to see that you were instructed and assessed in English. If this information is not available in your transcript, then please just ask your university for a little letter detailing the language of instruction. Moving on to the alternative English option waiver, what we call the INNO waiver. This English test waiver is now valid for study in all of our programs, except for any studies, again, at TU Eindhoven or KU Leuven, again, in line with local university regulations. You can see all of the countries on the screen here that qualify for this particular test waiver. You must have studied a bachelor's degree in one of these countries. And if you want to have access to this list of countries again later, please just take a look at our website and have a look there for the full list. Again, please ensure, like with the INNO waiver, please ensure that you provide proof that your program was fully instructed in English. Again, if this isn't visible on your transcript, then a nice little statement of language of instruction letter would be very much appreciated. And then moving on to the special track waiver, which is the final English test waiver that we have. If you have studied a bachelor's degree at any of these countries on the board, on the screen, then you can qualify for an English test waiver in 3 of our programs. Those programs are the Masters in Renewable Energy, the Masters in Sustainable Energy Systems, and the European Masters in Nuclear Energy. This English test waiver is valid for study at all of our universities except for TU Eindhoven, KU Leuven, and KTH Royal Institute of Technology, again in line with local university regulations. And similarly to the INNO waiver and the INNO waiver, please ensure that if you have studied your bachelor's degree in one of these countries that you can see in front of you, please make sure that you have proof that that the language of instruction for your program was English. And again, if that's not visible on your transcript, then please provide a letter from your university detailing so. There is the possibility to apply without an English test or other proof of English proficiency, so meeting the requirements for a waiver. The admissions office always recommends applying with a test or proof of meeting the requirements for a waiver. However, there may be some cases where, let's say, for example, you've got a test booked for a few months' time, you want to finish polishing up on those skills, your financial situation says that you can take the test in a few months' time, whatever the situation is. If you don't apply with test results or proof of meeting one of the English waiver requirements, then you must provide a valid approved English test by the 15th of July 2026. And this is only possible for the Masters in Renewable Energy with the first year at Instituto Superior Técnico at the University of Lisbon. So if you're looking at applying for the Masters in Sustainable Energy Systems or any of the other Masters programs except for renewable energy, this track is not possible. So if you are applying without valid proof of English proficiency at the point of application, please bear in mind that it is only for the Masters in Renewable Energy with the first year at IST in Lisbon that you may be considered.
Okay, I think it's time for me to interrupt a bit.
Thank you, Helena.
Let you save your voice a bit. Let's have a closer look at some other of the required documents that you need to upload in the application. Everybody needs to add a passport. You also need to have a CV, and this must of course be written in English, but also have a PDF format. And we recommend not to write more than maybe 1 to 2 pages for this. The program sends and Emine wants you to write a motivation letter. There are no specific requirements to observe on how you write this letter. And then the select program, it is compulsory to add a motivation video. And then for Rini and AESAI, it is optional to add a motivational video. There are no special requirements to observe, but please, an elevator pitch is recommended and about 2 minutes. And we continue on with some tips and tricks for you. Please upload your documents in the according task section and try not to duplicate it too many times. Upload a consolidated mark sheet or transcript of records with an average or overall grade, and please also include a grading system. Is the overall grade not listed on the transcript? Most universities, maybe especially those in China and the EU, will issue a separate document stating it, but you have to request it from them. So please try and obtain a document where you have an overall grade stated. And please avoid uploading information that is not asked for example, your high school diploma and such things. And try to keep your motivation letter or video and CV short and to the point. Maximum maybe 2 sides of an A4 or about 2 minutes for the video is recommended. Remember that the professors that are going through all the special requirements might go through hundreds of applications. So if you can explain everything very briefly and to the point, they will be very happy for it. And now we go to the fees and scholarships, and it's Josh's turn again.
Thank you very much. So I think I shall take some time to talk about the fees that we have here at InnoEnergy Masters Plus and what different participation fee waivers, funding, payment plans we also have to offer. So you've got a little link there on the left-hand side just to check this information at a later date if you'd like. On our website under the fees and funding subheading, you can find the funding. You can find, well, there's a fees subpage and a funding subpage. It's free to apply. So as we've mentioned before, you're welcome to apply in every application round, and you can apply for 2 programs in rounds 1 to 4, and then of course 1 program in the final round, round 5. If you are admitted, then there is a non-refundable registration fee of €295. This guarantees your seat on the program. Our programs are competitive, and some of them can fill up before the end of the application year. So it is important that if you receive admission and you wish to study with us, that you pay the registration fee in time so that you can keep your spot. The participation fees for intake 2026 are €19,000 per year, and living costs in the different cities within our programs vary around the European Union between approximately €1,000 to €1,500 per month. The biggest factors that affect living costs are, at the end of the day, your choice of accommodation. If you have student accommodation, then that is the biggest save of money, as opposed to living independently and renting secondhand on the market, for example. And most of our universities provide accommodation for our students, so that's a plus. We have some agreements with some different funding organizations, and also if you wish to pay in a slightly different payment plan, then you could pay in installments of up to 5 installments per year. This is orchestrated together with the finance here at InnoEnergy, and this is something that we can help you to establish, after you've received your admission. Then we have income sharing agreements for European and British students through Brain Capital, and then also a selection of financing agreements with exclusive partial fee waivers through different international organizations that you can see on the screen here, which are funding organizations based in different countries around the world. And then in terms of the scholarships that we offer centrally at InnoEnergy Masters Plus, the first category of scholarships I'm going to talk about are the Energy Impact Scholarships. These scholarships, in order to qualify for these scholarships, then you don't need to provide any additional documentation or, have any further application for these. Rather, your application will be considered in its entirety for these scholarships upon application. We offer 15 full participation fee waivers, which equates to 3 per program. for the best ranked students per application round. This then brings the annual participation fee down to nothing. And then for the top 30% of applicants per round, we offer a €4,000 partial waiver per year, which brings the annual participation fee down to €15,000 per year. And then for any of you who have studied at a top European Union university, then we have an €11,000 partial waiver per year, which brings the annual participation fee down to €8,000. Moving on to the other types of scholarships that we offer here at InnoEnergy Masters Plus, we have one category, which is the Diversity, Inclusion and Equity Scholarship, and then another category, which is the Entrepreneurship Scholarship. And again, we have 15 full participation fee waivers for selected students from all rounds. So this brings obviously the annual participation fee down to nothing. And then we have a €5,000 partial fee waiver for selected students from all rounds, bringing the annual participation fee down to €14,000 per year. And unlike the Energy Impact Scholarships, where you have no further requirements to fulfill to be able to be evaluated for the Energy Impact Scholarship, you do actually need to provide some certain documentation in order to apply for a Diversity, Inclusion and Equity or an Entrepreneurship Scholarship. In this case, you must choose one of the two categories, either Diversity, Inclusion and Equity or Entrepreneurship. You submit a 1 to 2 minute motivational video and any supporting documents that you believe help to motivate your case as to why you should receive one of these scholarships. Once you have been accepted or admitted into your program of choice, you must pay the €295 registration fee. And then about 4 weeks after paying the registration fee, selected students will be informed by the admissions office about being awarded a scholarship. If you are applying for the Diversity, Inclusion and Equity Scholarship, then it will be good to show in your video and provide any necessary documentation that explains how you will be increasing the diversity, inclusion and equity of our programs. And if you're looking at applying for the Entrepreneurship Scholarship, then we're looking to see what experience you have with entrepreneurship. So have you started a business before? You know, maybe you've got something going on within the family, or you've got a venture or an idea that you've started. So if you provide us with some information about that and any supplementary documentation you believe may fit well with your application, then that's going to be the best way to set up your scholarship application for Entrepreneurship Scholarship. And I think I'll pass back to my colleague Helena.
Yes. So in the end here, we just have some contact information to provide you with, which I think are on the next slide. So if you have any questions about the admissions, you can definitely turn directly to me and Josh, and please email us at admissionsoffice@innoenergy.com. If you have questions that are more related to the different programs and funding or finances, or other questions that is more academic, please turn to any of our study advisors and email innoenergy@studyinquiry.com, or you can also phone them or use the WhatsApp group. If you have other questions regarding the studies, housing in different countries, and social activities at the different universities and so on, then the student ambassadors are the best people to turn to. And we have information about who they are on our website. So now I think we are at the end of our presentation, and we can open up for some questions if we have anything.
Thank you, Helena and Josh. Thank you for the thorough presentation. And so we already answered some questions in the chat, but there's some more questions coming in, and I'm just trying to pick out the questions that directed to admissions office. Because I see there are some questions coming in, but they're not really directed now for admissions, it's mainly about the difference in the curriculum for the programs and the outcomes like entrepreneurial activities, etc. So I think those are best for say for when we have program webinars. So
Yes.
perhaps I can give a few more seconds if anyone has any questions really in terms of the application process, documentations that needed, any questions related to application requirements. Okay, so here's a good question just came in regarding admissions process. So a student is wondering how many applications are received per round and how many students are usually accepted per each round?
Oh, well, do we have that statistics on the top of our head? I think in the first 2 or 3, round 1, 2, and 3, we have around maybe 300 applicants. But since you can apply for numerous programs, there might be 500 applications. And I think it's only a few of those that are not going through to the committees that are going through the special requirements. I don't have the statistics on how many are admitted in the end. I don't have the numbers up on my screen.
Would you say it's would you say you receive mainly most of the applications during the first rounds while all the programs and the universities are open for applications?
Yes, exactly.
So
We have absolutely our most significant application rounds are 1 and 2, and then to a certain extent round 3 as well. But by applying in rounds 1 and 2, when we have the most amount of free seats, you're ensuring the best possibility for you to be admitted to the program that you wish to study. And provided that you apply with all of the documentation that we require, and if you believe that you have an academic background that matches that of your program, then you should be on to a winner.
Thank you so much, Helena and Josh. And then there's a question regarding transcripts. So a student is asking, she's wondering, so her transcripts, very briefly in one line, says the language of the course in English. Is that sufficient proof for the language requirement, or should she have any more clearer information to share with the admission office?
Now we need clearer information. It's not enough to have a transcript where the courses are listed in English for us to understand that the courses are actually given in English. It needs to be either printed on the transcript that the language of instruction for the program is English, or to have a separate letter from the university stating that.
Thank you, Lena. And in terms of the application, is there any age limit for the application age, or can obviously I guess they have to graduate, but yeah, is there any age limit when students can apply?
No, no age limitations.
Perfect. I think this is it, Helena. Josh, I think it was very thorough, so I don't think there's actually any more questions coming in. Oh, maybe, okay, sorry, just one more. So there's a student, he has a background in physics and philosophy. He took many courses in environmental sciences and environmental philosophy, but didn't take engineering. Could he take energy engineering related master's programs? I guess I know the answer, but maybe Elena and Josh, maybe you can clarify this one as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything that we can tell you now that you can or cannot do. What we check for at the general eligibility is if you have a bachelor's degree, and then the specifics is taken care of by the committee of the programs. But as we said during this presentation, is that it's not the name of the degree that it's most important. It is what type of courses that you have taken. And if you check our website on the programs that you are interested in, each program lists a few courses or a few subject areas that is important for you to have covered during your bachelor's. maybe Josh had something else to add, or was that thorough
Yeah,
enough?
I think it's just a general encouragement that if you're interested in studying with us, then again, because the application is free, you know, do your best to create as full an application as you possibly can, and really try and allow your passion to shine through when you're demonstrating your motivation. If you're making any elevator pitch videos, if you have any missing documents, then of course the admissions office will follow up with those so that you can submit in time. And then if you don't have the right background, then you will find out, because you will not be admitted. And if you would like to have any further feedback as to why you haven't been admitted, then you can ask us and we can get in touch with the program director and try and provide you with a limited amount of feedback that should be able to help you.
Thank you,
Josh, for that.
And regarding this activity tab in the application portal, what type of information should the students add into the activity tab?
I think I'm gonna have to have a quick look myself in the portal to just refresh my mind. Don't usually look at it from an applicant's perspective.
Maybe I can just ask, I have one more question about Coursera courses. Is this something that students can also add for like additional credits when they're applying?
What did you say that? If they can?
Coursera, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. The Coursera courses where students can take extra courses online. Can they also add this information for additional credits?
I mean, the credits that are going to be evaluated by the program steering committees are going to be your academic credits. So here in the European Union, we use the European Credits Transfer System, ECTS. So it will be on your transcript of records, you will have the list of the modules that you've taken and how many credits they're worth. And those officially produced transcripts with the courses that you've studied and how many credits have been provided. Those are the credits that are going to be most and primarily looked at by the program steering committees. But let's say, for example, you graduated, this is just an example, 10 years ago, or not this year or last year, but so you've had some time to gain some professional experience. The program steering committees are also going to be looking at your profile as a whole. So if you have certain things that you've been working with over the past couple of years that also contribute to your ability to be able to do well in the program, then that is going to shine through in your CV. You might talk about it in your motivation video if you have one, or write about it in your letter of motivation. But these sort of online courses or third-party courses, they're not used to create the grounds of evaluation for your application, but that it's more to fill in any gaps or to try and provide that little bit of something extra. Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. And Josh, I know you already covered this somewhat, but can you just share again for the students from Nigeria, those who obviously have instructions in English during their studies, do they need to provide an English test, or they exempt from English test?
Yes, thank you very much. Sorry about that. It's getting dark here in Sweden. Yeah, so if you have studied your bachelor's degree in English in Nigeria, then what you need to provide is a language of instruction letter if your language of instruction is not visible on your transcript. And what we mean by that is sometimes in a transcript at the bottom of the page, for example, it may say language of instruction English. If that appears on your transcript, then we don't need to see a language of instruction letter. But if that information is absent, then we see quite often that the Office of the Registrar or similar department have written a letter detailing that the language of instruction at said university or in said program is English. So that would be what we need to see.
Yes, and I can just add there that for Nigeria, the only thing that you will not qualify for without an English test is if you really want to study at TU Eindhoven or KU Leuven. Those are the only ones, right? That doesn't accept the ENO waiver.
Thank you so much for clarifying this as well. And is there any additional like supplementary documents that you think enhances students' chances to be selected and accepted into the programs?
No.
And then can I add on to this? Is there any additional supplementary documents that enhance students' chances to get scholarships for the programs?
The motivational video or letter.
Perfect. So this is where they really have to shine. Okay.
I've got an answer to the activities question.
Excellent. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, the activities section is a chance for you to showcase anything that may not be listed in other parts of your application. So let's say that you're involved, I don't know, in the National Society of Engineers in your country or something like that. That's something that could go in there. Or you've got a particular hobby or interest that you'd like to share with the program steering committee, then that would be what you could include in that section.
And George, because there was also like a second part to this question, if it's some activities from school, so before the university, you think it's also something that can be added in this tab?
Sorry, say that again, please.
So some activities that maybe not from university, so not from bachelor's, but maybe pre-bachelor's as well.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Just so I don't see any more questions coming in now. I just want to let everyone know that we will have more sessions before the end of each application round scheduled with Josh and Lena. So if you're planning to apply in the later rounds and will need a little refresher, you can also join the sessions. We haven't published them yet, but we will schedule more. So I think we can close the webinar today as there's no more questions coming in. You will get the recording after the webinar, so it should come in a day in your email so you can have a little refresher. But thank you all for joining today, and thank you so much, Josh and Elena, for taking time and explaining to us the admissions and application process. So I will close the webinar now and have a good rest of the day, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.